Teddy Covers coming to us live from Las Vegas, Nevada. Happy Wednesday morning to you, Teddy. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, Jimmy. How about yourself today?
Doing great. Great night last night. My ROI in NBA now is plus 30%. Very
Nice.
small. I've only made 29 bets in the NBA this year, but 19 and 10. Swept it yesterday. Thank you for that Cavaliers play. That was wonderful. So thank you for that. I wasn't going to be on my card until you popped on it. And up 1.24 units in NBA last night, 3-1 in college basketball. So yesterday it was plus 5.14 unit day, and I needed it. And I'm very thankful for it. And got some exciting stuff going on in the chat right now. Matt Randall needs Toledo tonight to cash a big 7-game parlay. So we're going to be cheering for Maddie. And I feel good, and I'm excited. So I would like to get right to work, and I'd like to start with NBA, Teddy. And there's one game that I haven't capped yet on the show, and that's this Raptors game against the Blazers. First off, there's some tricky lines out here that make me uncomfortable. And the Spurs, after how bad they're playing, to only be 2-point dogs against the Wolves, who are playing well right now, is scary. And the Blazers are playing so bad right now, but man, this is a beat-up Raptors team at the end of a road trip, playing their third game in 4 nights. So Blazers on the second half of a back-to-back, Raptors playing their third game in 4 nights. These are two tired basketball teams, and it makes me hesitant to make a move. Portland opening up at -3. They're now 2.5 across the board. This total opened up at 221, and now we see 218s. So the Blazers are beat up. Nurkic and Collins out. Now Rodney Hood, uncertain. He set out 2 straight games with back spasms. McCollum is playing bad. Whiteside is being there some games and not there other times. And then the Raptors just lost possibly Anunoby. We don't know if he's going to be in the lineup. We're already without Lowry and Ibaka. So it's just Van Fleet, Powell, Gasol, and Siakam. And at the end of a road trip, I'd be hesitant to make a move on the Raptors. Is this Blazers are 1-3 at home? Is this a buy low spot on the Portland Trailblazers?
So it's funny that we start with this game. This is the only game in the NBA that I bet tonight. So I'm glad we're starting with it. I took Toronto +3, put them in my pocket. Portland can't be laying. The Blazers are 1-5 in their last 6 games. The only win coming in overtime as 9-point favorites. They lost last night to Sacramento without Aaron Fox. Lillard and McCollum are doing what they can do. The supporting cast isn't there right now for the Blazers. All the quotes from Toronto. Remember, Toronto had they beat the Lakers and they had the Clippers on the ropes. And then they had a terrible fourth quarter. They scored 10 points in the fourth. The Clips defense completely shut them down. The quotes after that game were, hey, we split in L.A., no harm, no foul. We're ready to go up to Portland and win. I think the Raptors are the better team. And I got the better team catching points. And they're rested, and their opponent's on the second of back-to-backs. They're playing decent basketball. Their opponent isn't. That was a no-brainer for me. I took Toronto plus. I think the better team catching points, period. Better team, better spot. And it's not really, that wasn't one that I sat there and debated about for 2 hours. That's one that, oh, my God, I'm getting 3, and now it's down to 2.5. At 2.5, I wouldn't complain. At 2, I wouldn't complain. At 2 or better, I think the Raptors are worth a wager.
I understand it completely, and these are the games that I stay away from. I just don't feel comfortable backing the basketball team that I watch so closely at the end of a road trip, beaten up the way they are. And I know Blazers are playing terrible basketball second half of back-to-back, but so let's talk about this Spurs game here. The Spurs are playing so badly, and the Wolves are playing so well. And because of the against the spread Spurs looks against Timberwolves last couple of years, the Spurs are only 2-point dogs here. How do you feel about this Spurs-Timberwolves match?
Well, San Antonio doesn't actually have a huge betting bandwagon. They're 2-8 against the spread. All right. They've been consistent money losers. It's pretty clear right now the Spurs, not a team you want to be laying points with. However, from a defensive standpoint, there's also no, it's not like the Spurs are playing good defense. Minnesota isn't playing any defense. And they really, when you look at the strength of schedule, the T-Wolves have played the Pistons and the Warriors and the Grizzlies and the Wizards. and Charlotte and the Nets. They played all of these bad teams, and they feasted on some of them when they're facing a decent team. And for all of San Antonio's point spread success, the Spurs right now, I have them basically a middle team in the NBA. They're not bottom feeders. They're not, they're the type of team that's, bouncing around 500 and shooting for the last playoff spot. That's what San Antonio is. They're not Memphis or Charlotte or Washington or any of these bottom feeders. And they're in a completely different role right now for San Antonio. Instead of laying points, they're catching points against a team that doesn't play any defense. So I can understand the point spread being where it is. All that said, the market, when a team is 2-8 against the spread, it means the markets have them wrong. And I'm not convinced the markets are pricing San Antonio correctly right now. So it's not like I was racing the window to take the Spurs. I'm not betting the Spurs. But boy, the T-Wolves' defensive efforts and defensive numbers are just abysmal. Hard team to lay points with for me. These are the ones that I stay away from, Jimmy.
I know. Oh, I agree. I'm going to stay away from this game for sure. A game that I find extremely interesting. So the chat, and I agree with the chat, and I need to hear because I've got a lean here. Clippers, Rockets. We know the Rockets don't play defense, but they have been the last 4 games of this winning streak, allowing 105.5 points per game. Harden in the papers is saying, look, we need defensive accountability, but we don't see it on the floor, but he keeps saying it to reporters. Then we have the Clippers who don't want to get in a 100-meter dash with the Rockets. They want to play defense. This total is high and has gone up, and everybody in the chat, like in the under here, what do you think of this total in Clippers Houston opening up at 232, up to 233.5 at Pinnacle, 234 almost everywhere else, 234.5 at Heritage? Teddy, the total in Clippers Rockets.
Well, I mean, we don't know yet if Paul George is going to play. And if Paul George plays, we like the under. 2 reasons. One, obviously what he does defensively. 2 is that I expect the first few games with George in the lineup for the Clips to be a work in progress on the offensive side of the court. And you throw in the injury to Landry Shamet. I mean, that's a big injury. Under the radar injury. It's not like he's a huge deal, but he's instant offense for the Clips. So I would understand some under money if he played. Of course, last time these two teams played, and again, the Clips played defense last year too, but 135, 103, 133, 113, 115, 112 were the 3 minis last year. All 3 went over, but it's worth noting what those totals were. 221, 217.5. The last one was 229. Totals are in a different ballpark in the NBA this year. I can certainly understand an under wager. I just wanted to look at those the last 5 for Houston defensively. I know you said the last 5 they played better, and I haven't seen it. Not with my eyes anyway. But yeah, the shooting percentages are showing it. So maybe the Rockets have turned the corner defensively, in which case the under makes even more sense.
It does. It does. It really does. When you see this total here go from 232 to 233.5 to 234 to 234.5, do you think, wait, you might get a 235?
Yeah, it's a moral equivalent of you're not trying to catch the falling knife. A point spread's dropping, you wait till it stops, and then you make your bet. Once the knife has fallen. In this instance, the knife is rising, or the total's rising. As soon as you see one book tick back the other way, one leading to tick back the other way, that's when you buy. But right now, with the money coming to the over, there's no urgency to get to the window betting the under. You wait till the market stops moving, and then you get involved. As long as you have the ability to sit in front of your screen and have the opportunity to take advantage of the betting markets when the time is right, which is easy enough for me and you, Jimmy, because we don't have regular jobs. But for those of you who have regular jobs, it's not always as easy to get your bets down and watch track the market all day. In which case, there's not going to hurt you, get you down. It could hurt you, but I would get down now and not, lose too much sleep over it.
Finally, I want to ask you, I have a lean towards the Wizards here. Celtics have been playing so good, 1-8 straight. They're beaten up. The Wizards are a bad basketball team. Isaiah Thomas coming back to Boston. I have not made a move because I don't trust the Wizards. I don't trust them. But I feel like this spread that opened at 9.5 quickly went down to 8.5 or 8. might be a little too much. I think Washington might be able to keep this close. What do you think of Wizards Celtics?
So here's the concept. Hayward gets hurt. The markets crash on Boston. Through the first couple of games after the injury, there's been no impact on the floor. So we've seen the markets move very clearly against the Celtics each of the last 2 games. Real clearly against Boston in those contests. And yet all they've done is continue to win games and cover point spreads. And the markets are continuing to say, no, the Celtics aren't that good. No, they can't be that good. I love situations like this in the NBA. For Boston, for me right now, is a one-way team. I'm betting on the Celtics or I'm leaving the game alone because of that very factor. The markets have made an adjustment, but the team on the floor, even without one of their key players, right now is every bit as good. Now, Stevens is not a let's lay points with him coach. We always love him in the dog role. We love him in close games. We don't love him in the games where we're laying a price like this. I could easily see Boston being sleepy tonight. This isn't a step-up game for them. I'm not laying with the Celtics tonight, but as a concept, I think Boston is more of a bet on than a bet against team right now because of the Hayward injury and because of the market reaction to the Hayward injury. But so far, they've been able to overcome.
Questions are coming in, and we're going to move to college football very quickly. But a question coming in from NBA from our guy David Stewart, who puts a ton of energy into this show, whom we love dearly. Original OG Low Bagger says, ask Teddy about Memphis. I'm curious his opinion on that game. I like Memphis plus 2.5. This game makes me uncomfortable. I was saying John Morant looks tired. Jaren Jackson looks spectacular. He's going to be such a good basketball player. Memphis leads the NBA in points in the paint. I like Cody Zeller, and I like what he can do, and I like watching him run the floor. I don't know what to do with this spot. Grizzlies, Hornets. The Hornets open up at minus 1.5. Now they're 2.5. This total opened up at 220. Now 221 or 221.5. Teddy, Memphis, Charlotte.
I do not have a strong opinion on this game. If I was going to play it, I would be looking to take points as opposed to laying points. And Charlotte has had a couple of really nice runs at home in the fourth quarter. They put together some hot shooting nights. When all said and done, I wouldn't argue that Memphis is a little bit better. But I'm not getting involved in the game. In this point spread range, it's hard for me to ask the Grizzlies to win on the road. Slightest of leans towards Memphis, but really it's the slightest of leans.
Understandably so. All right, so there we have it. I only have Magic money line at plus 125. I'm going to keep an eye on this total Clippers Rockets. Our guy Shelby has told us that Paul George will be in the lineup tomorrow and not this evening. Knowing that he won't, if you were capping this with him out of the lineup, you've already said that if he was in the lineup, you'd already be on this under possibly?
I would certainly be looking in that direction. Absolutely.
And with him off the lineup,
I'm just looking at I'm trying to confirm that he's out tonight. I'm not seeing it yet, and the markets haven't adjusted to it yet. So, I love the info, but I'm not seeing it on the screen yet.
Yeah, I hear you. So we'll wait and get more information. But thank you for the insights, Shelby, as well. All right, let's move in to college football. We got 2 games on the card tonight. And the big game in my mind tonight is the NIU Toledo game. And that's because our very own Matt Randall has a 7-game parlay that finishes. He's got hit 6 already of them, and it finishes with Toledo minus 2.5 or minus 130 on the money line, I believe. Toledo on the money line minus 130. Let's start there because this game is going to be so interesting to me this evening, knowing that our Matty Randall is going to get a big score. Oh, by the way, Dan Kelly is on first half Raptors plus 1. First half Raptors plus 1 in that Raptors Blazers spot. So the total opens up at 55, gone down to 52.5 at Pinnacle, 54 at Bookmaker. But I'm more interested in your breakdown on the side here. Toledo opening at minus 2.5. There's a minus 2 at 5 Dimes and Heritage. Teddy covers NIU Toledo.
So Toledo's going to make a look in this ball game, and I wish you all the luck, man. Cashing 17-teamers, a lot of fun. So nothing but love and nothing but luck tonight. I hope you bring this one home. It's not a game that I have bet. I don't trust Northern Illinois, okay? I bet against them at Central Michigan. That was a turnover fest and all of that. But we're talking about a team that, they're limited offensively this year. They really are. And when we talk about underrated home fields in college football, look, the Glass Bowl on a Saturday afternoon at noon is not a tough venue. The Glass Bowl with the camera shining, the ESPN camera shining on a weeknight TV game, that place gets rowdy. I mean, really rowdy. You ever been to Toledo? It's a fun place to go for those TV games. I was on a Friday night one time, and we had a blast, and that place was nuts, and Toledo pulled an upset, and that's what they do in these situations. So there's the betting markets are concerned because Toledo's been running 2 QBs all year. It's no big deal. What's the guy's name? Guadani, he's hurt. I don't know if he's going to play. The backup's been just fine for Toledo. I don't consider that to be a significant drop-off, but you're laying a cheaper price with the Rockets because of it. I can only play Toledo here. And again, haven't they won every game at home this year? I'm pretty sure they have. They have. They beat BYU. They had the upset there. They knocked off Western Michigan. This is a home field that's worth something. And I understand they haven't won these games by margin, but at -2.5, you don't have to win by margin. Lean Toledo. Haven't pulled the trigger.
Lean Toledo. Haven't pulled the trigger. Next up, popping off at the same time as the Toledo game is in Miami of Ohio, going up against Bowling Green. Miami of Ohio opening up at -18.5. Now we have 17.5 and 17s. This total's also dropped. Opened at 51.5 and now 49.5, 49, or even a 48.5 at Bet Online. Bowling Green, Miami of Ohio, Teddy.
So now we can definitely take a look at Bowling Green's 35-6 win over Akron and go, yeah, no big deal. Which we said that already. What they have? They had under 300 yards of offense in that ball game and scored 35 points. BG is rough offensively. I'll just leave it at that. They're going to turn the ball over. They're not going to move the ball on the ground effectively. They're not likely to move the ball through the air effectively. They're a team that's going to struggle to reach double digits on the offensive side. Against the Redhawks defense is pretty good. They really are. I've been impressed repeatedly with Miami O's D. And Miami O, what do they won? 4 of their last 5. Another team that has an underrated home field advantage. They've covered the number in every one of their victories. But now it's a whole different story. It's not just winning or winning by a touchdown or winning by 2 touchdowns. It's winning by more than 3 scores. And Miami O, they've done that once all year. I'm not convinced I want to ask them to do it tonight. So lean favorite, but nothing I'm going to get to the window with.
A lean to the favorite, but not going to the window with either of these 2 spots. Let's talk about the games our guy, Teddy Covers, is going to the window with. And on Monday, he gives North Carolina +5, San Diego State -1.5, Indiana +14.5, Minnesota +3, Central Michigan +3. Let's start with just those 5, because I know you've added a game and we'll get into it. But let's just start with the 5 that you went to the window with on Monday. So that's North Carolina +5, San Diego State -1.5, Indiana +14.5, Minnesota +3, Central Michigan +3. Are you bullish on any of those spots? Are you concerned about any of those spots?
Yes and yes. I had another unit on the Gophers. I'll just put it like that. Gophers are going to be a big bet for me. I think Minnesota's going to win that game. And that's one that I bet, and now I bet again. So, which I will do. When I put down a second, sometimes when I'm making a big bet, I'll make it all at once. A lot of times I'll bet one, look at it again. Yeah, I want another unit on this. And the Gophers are that for me. They're better than Iowa. And everybody and their brother is saying about the spot. There's a God. I was walking around town yesterday talking to every handicapper. I talk, when I walk around town and I'm in various sports books and people come talk to me, I end up talking games with everybody. It's just what you do all day. I didn't hear one person say anything but, oh, Minnesota's a fade this week. Oh, the spot for the Gophers. Oh, they got their win. Minnesota's better than Iowa. I like Minnesota. Clearly. The one of that group that I'm a little bit, I got the good number with North Carolina. I'm just going to hold that. Boy, this market move against San Diego State has me concerned. I'm not exactly understanding where or why it's coming from. And that's one that, and I can't get off it now. Fresno's already the favorite. I'm a little bit concerned about that one. That's not one that I'm in love with as much as I was on Sunday night / Monday morning. That's
very, very interesting. Thank you for breaking down those spots. And man, DJ Big Boss in the house says Minnesota is real. Man. Also, speaking of DJ Big Boss in the chat, we are doing one last Pick Six show together tonight, not live,
Cool.
but starting next week. DJ Big Boss, Big Ragu, and myself will be doing the playoff drive live every Wednesday night together, and I'm very excited about working with them live again. Okay, let's move back. So there were 3 plays that you were close to making. You were waiting for a number. You were waiting to get to 28 with New Mexico. You were waiting to get 7 with Wyoming. You were waiting to get 7 with Cal. You jumped on Texas at +7. So let's talk about those 4 looks. How do you feel about your look on Texas that you went to the window with? And then have you got to the window with the other 3, and are you expecting to?
I haven't gotten to the window with any of the other 3 yet. The Lobos, I probably I may well have talked myself out of New Mexico. We'll see about New Mexico. I'm still waiting for the number with Wyoming, and I'm still waiting for the number with Cal. The 7 haven't popped for either one. If it comes to Friday or Saturday, if it comes to we're getting a kickoff, and I'm still not seeing 7s, we'll see if I get involved. I did make one bet, and I made a bet. How do I say it? I made a bet that goes against one of my principles that I try not to do, is take a lot of these ugly underdogs. But I couldn't not take it. I played UMass +40.5 against Northwestern. How do you not? Northwestern can't lay 40.5. Northwestern wins the game 31-3. That's fine. I don't know that Northwestern's gonna score 40+ if you put us out there on defense for the opposing team. So that's one that I put in my pocket. Betting number 343. UMass +40.5. And if I lose, I lose. So be it. I'm not gonna beat myself up, but this is value. Northwestern's not built to cover point spreads like this.
Wow, Lucas Paff says, has a 1-8 team ever been a 40.5 point favorite? It's funny because those plays, they excite me so much. I wish they didn't. But I can't help but hear when you're going to take a 40-point dog. I'm like, whoo, like I got to get that off because that doesn't help me. And we just saw, I took Maryland to +44 for show purposes, 42, and I bet it, and I was so excited, and then I just hated myself. It was just like, you schmuck, because that's what my dad used to call me, a schmuck. Okay, let's move on. We have questions pouring in right now, so let's get after it. Okay, here we go. Feel free to hammer your questions. I'm going to move over to the NCAA football page here. I've got spreads and totals here at sportsbookreview.com, the best odds page in the business. All right, let's get after it and start firing your questions. I've copied and pasted a bunch of them. The first one is from our guy, Moses Saucedo. Says, can you ask Teddy about Cal USC? And he says, I'm leaning towards the under. Let's pull this game up right now. It's the last game on the card. Rotation number 361, 362. This total's been at 48.5 and is not moving, not budging. A 1-cent move to the under. USC 6.5 point favorites. Do you think our guy Moses should pull the trigger on the under 48.5 in USC Cal?
Is he leaning under or over? I thought he was leaning over.
No, he says leaning under.
Okay, so here's this. Cal's been a dead nuts under team this year, last year, recent years. I mean, that's who they are. I haven't bet a whole lot of Cal games over the total in any recent season. Last week, game went over, offense moved the football, quarterback monster played well. That's, to me, a concern, a real concern if I'm betting the under this week. And especially against a USC team that's going over the total week in, week out. USC's been the opposite of Cal. The offense has been good. The defense has been spotty. I like side more than total in this game. I can see Cal hanging around in a low-scoring game, and I can see Cal hanging around in a higher-scoring game if Monster could throw the football anyway the way he did last week, or if USC makes the mistakes they did last week. It's not a game to me. And the thing I see clearer on this game is side as opposed to total. And it's not one of those games where I'm like, if Cal's going to cover, it has to be a low-scoring game. I don't see it that way. So I'm sorry, I just don't have a strong take on this total for you. I don't.
No problem. No problem at all. We have questions coming in. I'm just trying to grab a rotation number. Next question that's come in is from our guy, Coleon, another OG low bagger. Says, ask about Texas State Troy. Rotation number 345, 346. Troy opening up at -8.5, now 7s across the board. This total opening up at 60.5, now 61s across the board. Teddy covers Troy, Texas State.
You know, the kids from San Marcos is not a good football school, man. Texas State is, you know, and they got the win last week against South Alabama, a bad South Alabama team. They were, you know, life and death to win the game. Laying 7.5. Did they sniff a point spread cover in that game? I don't think so. I'm not a Texas State fan, so it's Troy or pass for me. And I don't know that Troy plays the kind of defense that I want to be in this point spread range. I understand their offense is explosive. They also have potential look ahead next week. They got Lafayette and App State on deck. And this is a win one and get out of town type of ball game. So I could only take Troy, and I don't love Troy here. So it'll be a pass for me.
All right, will be a pass. Oh, I love that. Kevin Taylor. Oh, I love hearing that. Kevin Taylor saying loving the under with the Flyers. Sorry to get off topic, but that going against the public.
Man, talk some hockey. It's all good.
Going against the public gets me gets my heart beating faster, and it gets me very excited. So I love hearing that you're with me on this, Kevin, because everybody and their mama going to be on the over, and that's not the way Alain Vigneault plays. All right, so John Williams, and we're going to go back to it now, but he asked all in capitals. John Williams says, can you ask Teddy what's up with his San Diego State pick moving to +1? I know we briefly talked about it off the top, but do we have any exact – can we find any reasons?
I haven't found one yet, and I looked yesterday. I'm going to look again today. I don't know, and when I don't know, that concerns me. And that was a significant move, and it came out much shorter than I thought it was going to come out of, and now the money's coming the other way. So, like I said, I got the Aztecs, which is at a bad number in my pocket. And I am concerned about that game. But with the digging that I dug yesterday, I didn't find anything. So what do? You keep digging. We'll see what we find today. As of now, I don't know why that line moved where it is. I leaned Aztecs. I bet Aztecs. And now I'm a little bit concerned about it. But I'm not going to freak out on a market move. You know, markets move all the time for all different reasons. I still think San Diego State's a better team. And as long as there's not some key hidden injury or the locker room didn't collapse in some way that I don't know about after last week's loss to Nevada, I'll expect to hold my wager.
Because that was a spot that Paco Healy loved too. And Paco Healy knows his team inside and out. I don't know what to make of it either. Okay, we've already spoken about this game. And DJ Big Boss says fade the public. That's what we did here in Vegas. Okay, let's make a move here. We've already spoken about this, but Christopher Comentini wants to talk about it some more. So we're going to talk about this Virginia Tech against Georgia Tech. Virginia Tech laying 5.5, and this total's dropped at some books down to 50. It's still 52.5 at Bookmaker. Wild to see Bookmaker so far. I'd have to double check and see if that's right, but it is juiced to -119 if you want the under. Virginia Tech laying 5.5 on the road. Should we back? Should Christopher Comentini back Virginia Tech laying 5.5 to Georgia Tech?
So, I mean, Georgia Tech's a team that started out the year and they lost every game and every point spread through the middle of October. Teams like Georgia Tech, if they show any signs of improvement, can be legitimate moneymakers down the stretch because the markets have crashed on them well below the talent level that's on hand. Defensively, they played pretty good the last couple of weeks. They gave Virginia a battle. They gave Pitt a battle. You know, they knocked off Miami, which looks even better in retrospect. Although that was kind of the game that turned the Canes season around. But there has been buy signs on Georgia Tech in recent weeks. Defensively, I think they're a good notch too better than they were a couple months ago. And the offense is not good, but it's coming around. So, and Virginia Tech has been such a home road team, and I know they hung around at Notre Dame. That was also courtesy of the, 90-something yard fumble return touchdown that made a pretty big difference in that contest. They're outgained basically 2-1 in that game. And that happened, and I understand they won at Miami. They were outgained by 225 yards in that ball game. I don't trust the Hokies to win by margin on the road. I don't. They have gotten better. They also just won their 6th game and clinched bowl eligibility, and this might be a spot for the Hokies. So not a game I plan to bet. Slight lean to the home dog.
Next question comes in from our Christian Walsh. Wants to know about Kansas OK State. Rotation number 375, 376. Oklahoma State at minus 17, now 17 and a half, and an 18 at Pinnacle. Pinnacle leading the way towards backing the favorite. Kansas, Oklahoma State total opened up at 65 and a half. Now all over the map. You can get it at 66. You can get it at 68. And that's what he wants to know about. Wants to know if you would take the over in Kansas, Oklahoma State.
That's the only way I'd play it is over. Total-wise. Side-wise, I have no idea what to do with this game. Total-wise, Kansas is an over team, okay? Their offense is okay. They can make some explosive plays. Their defense stinks. They will give up big plays in bunches. So, Oklahoma State, especially Cowboys team coming off a bye. And I would not be surprised. And last time Oklahoma State came off a bye, remember, they got wiped out at home by Baylor in a game where they had a ton of mistakes and turnovers and all of that. This time coming off the bye, one would think maybe they'll be a little more prepared. From a side standpoint, I have no idea what to do with this one. But I am looking at Kansas as an over team, and it's not like Oklahoma State's not. Their totals have been high. The unders they've cashed this year is because their totals have been pretty freaking high. But if I had to play this one, I would look over well before I looked under.
We have two different cappers here wanting to know about this Tulane Temple spot. Jerry Beatty says, please ask Teddy about the Tulane game. Billy Boxer says, can you please ask why the big move in Tulane Temple? Rotation number 323, 324. Tulane opening up at 3.5, now 6s across the board. This total has dropped a point from 55.5 down to 54.5. What do you think of this big move towards Tulane?
Everyone's so polite, Can you please ask Teddy? Thank you for being so polite, guys. You don't have to be that like, what the hell's the deal with this game? It's fine. And I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys, asking so nicely. I do. So when these two teams last met, Temple was the ascending program. Tulane was the bottom feeder, and it was back-to-back blowouts. Temple killed them in back-to-back years. Tulane couldn't do anything. Now, obviously, we're seeing the Tulane program ascending, and the markets are giving them a ton of credit. And as we've seen the money come on Tulane this week, and a big move towards Tulane right off the opener, coming out of the bye, there's a lot of love for Tulane. There has been in the market. Their statistical profile is good. They've been winning games and covering numbers despite losing turnover battles. Markets love that. And from an explosive offense standpoint, Tulane's got the quality QB. Tulane's got playmakers. Temple really doesn't have. From an offensive standpoint, there's no comparison between these two teams. And we saw what happened when Temple tried to step up and play the better offenses in the conference. When they faced SMU, when they faced Central Florida, absolutely wiped out in those games. Couldn't compete on either side. The markets are viewing this game like an addendum of that game, of those games, I should say, where Tulane's got the skill position, talent, speed, and Temple's not going to be able to hang with that. I don't know that I agree with that. And now from a statistical profile, Temple, they were outgained by 380 and 350 against SMU and Central Florida, complete wipeouts. When you get outgained by 750 yards in 2 games, your whole season-long statistical profile gets warped. And that's what happened with Temple. And that's why we saw, everyone last week was like, why is Temple so cheap against South Florida? They're only 1.5, 2. My number's 4. That's why they were so cheap, and they were the right side. The markets were betting the stats. The markets are betting the stats here, too, for what it's worth. That's why Tulane took the money that they did, and that's why they're sitting at 6-point road favorites right now. I wouldn't be surprised if Temple hangs around in this one. This is one I'm considering I wouldn't even put them on the short list yet, but Temple's a team that I absolutely expect to do some work on today, and maybe we'll get to the window with Temple before this week is through. Probably not at +6, but maybe.
I like it. I like hearing about it. Love it. Okay, so we have questions coming in fast and furious, and we don't have a lot of time. Our guy D. Summers wanting to know about rotation number 369, 370, Texas A&M. They opened up -10. Now they're -11. He's wondering if he should pull the trigger on Texas A&M -11 against South Carolina. Do you think he should?
I know I don't want the dog here. The Gamecocks have battled. I'll give them credit for battling, and I shouldn't say no to an underdog. How many times do we have to see the team lose at home to the team they're not supposed to, and they go on the road the next week and they fight? You know, Arkansas gave Texas A&M a battle this year in a very similar spot. Remember that? And that's the Aggies. You know, they haven't been a team that I'm super comfortable laying price with, and I know they got the job done against Mississippi State as home favorites. Is that it for the season? I mean, they had the UTSAs and the whoever else they played, the Texas States of the world. In SEC play, they're not a team I trust to win by margin. And I bottom line, I don't have a strong take on this game. Let's move on to the next one because I don't.
No worries. No worries. And this will be the last game on this card. We have Chris Brady, Reese, and Ray Kimbrell all asking your thoughts on this giant Georgia-Auburn game. Georgia opening up at -2.5. They're still there, but some threes are popping up at UWager, Bovada, and Bet Online. Everybody wants to know what you think of this spot. Big game. Basically, should Chris Brady back Georgia -3 at Auburn?
So my initial lean was towards Georgia. As I worked on this game yesterday, I started liking Georgia less and less and Auburn more and more. And at +3, I may well be a buyer on the Tigers over the Bulldogs. And basically the bottom line is this is a fade of Georgia. Show me something that Georgia's done up to expectations this year. You know what I mean? They continue to be in these games where they're the better team and they're supposed to be dominating someone. And at the end of the game, it's a tight con. Even against Missouri last week, that offense didn't work. I don't trust Georgia to move the football in this environment against this defense. And my initial reaction was, look, Auburn, if they can't run, they can't win. And do we trust Bo Nix in this type of game? And then you really start to look at some of the, two factors. One is off a bye. Maybe they will be able to throw the football around a little bit. A Frost QB by November is not a Frost QB anymore if he's been starting all year. And the second thing is, for as much issues as I have with Georgia's offense, and do I trust them in a hostile environment? I don't. Do I trust Georgia's defense against a team that's going to push pace and really pound the ball against them? I don't know that I do that either. So my initial lean was towards the chalk. I flipped on this one. I'll be on the home dog if I get involved.
Oh, interesting. Home dog. Chris Brady says I was actually leading Auburn +3. Okay, I feel you. Chris Brady was actually leading towards Auburn as well. There you have it. Teddy Covers breaking down this big college football card.